Hello and welcome to the second quarter Sheriff's Roundup for 2018. I'm Sheriff Bill Brown, this time coming to you from the busy Northern Branch Jail construction site here in Santa Maria. The long-awaited facility is more than halfway complete, and it's set to open in the summer of 2019. The project broke ground in September of 2016, and since that time, this location has been bustling with activity. More than 100 people are typically working here 5 to 7 days a week in a concerted effort to see this project to completion. Here is retired Sheriff's Commander Tom Jenkins and Custody Sergeant Bill Wolf with a behind-the-scenes look to show us how things are shaping up.
We are standing in the lobby of the new jail. This will also be the public entrance of the new jail and where reception for the administration will begin. It's going to be a 376-bed jail. We also have added some elements that will allow us to expand so that we are building a starting point for a larger complex here in the northern area.
We are standing just outside of the jail right now. As you can see behind me, there'll be a covered area that the inmates that are released can use. There'll be a restroom there, there'll be a seating area because they'll be released out of that door just behind me. The jail does sit some distance from Santa Maria, so the designers and the Sheriff's Office wanted a place that the inmates could be right after their release until a proper pickup was done. This is the first phase of the intake process. This will be the officer station. Each station there will have custody deputies doing the intake and booking process. We also have several holding tanks and a total of 4 safety cells. What's different with these safety cells is that no longer will we have to speak with the inmate that's inside from outside the corridor or through the food pass or cuff port. We will actually have a room right here that you can speak with the inmates. It'll be in private to meet up with HIPAA codes, and there'll also be a pass area for medications and for meal pass.
This is the central control for the Northern Branch Jail. This will be raised up, much like you saw in the intake area, and it'll be an open glass. It is set up to have up to 3 control stations in it. From this location, you can see down all the main corridors of the entire facility and at the same time have the camera views that you need. At this point, we're approximately 55% complete with the building, with an anticipated handing over the keys date of April of 2019. And once we get the keys, then we actually start transitioning into the new facility and plotting the date when we'd actually move inmates in. We have had a few hiccups in the project that we didn't anticipate. We've had 2 iterations of owls nesting on the property, which have forced us to move work so we don't disturb them. There is state and federal regulations that say if there's nesting birds, we have to give them a level of freedom. We've had biologists monitoring that. We've had coyotes, mountain lion, other critters that have been on site. It's been a very busy location. You're now in the medical area. I'm standing at the nurses station. That, like the rest, will be a raised platform. But beyond me are some of the rooms that people who have particular medical issues may be housed temporarily, unless they need to be moved into our 32 medical and mental health beds in the facility. It does give us the ability to relieve some of the tension that we have in the main jail with individuals who need medical care.
Okay, we are standing in a typical housing unit for direct supervision here at the Northern Branch Jail. We can house up to 64 inmates in this module, and each module is going to have its own classroom. It's going to have its own what we call an issue room, where that could be clothing, it could be medication, and it's also going to have its own medical room as well. The officers are going to be walking freely all day long amongst the inmates, and the idea is to have clear, concise expectations and to keep the inmates actively occupied. And this will give the officer total control of his or her module throughout the day.
Together, this is the largest public works project the county has ever done. It's 135,000 square feet of construction. The transition team at the same time is trying to anticipate all the policies, procedures, post orders, and steps needed to open this facility. We look at the current policies, adapt them to this facility, or in some cases, we're writing all new policies for some of the technology and materials that are going to be in this facility. Progress is going forward every day. We are fairly comfortable that we're going to see an opening in April, but there's lots of things that could yet happen. The contractor is charging ahead quickly.
Thanks, Tom and Bill, for all of your hard work, and to everyone who's been putting in long hours to get our new jail done and to make sure that it's done right. Not only will the physical design of the jail be new and innovative, but also so will our inmate management strategy. For this edition of the Training Corner, here's a look at the training involved in a switch from an indirect to a direct supervision model.
Direct supervision, what it is, it's basically going to allow us, in a nutshell, to get more contact with the inmates. It's going to give us the opportunity to treat them how we'd like to be treated and address their basic needs and wants in a more social environment.
What I was able to see over the course of this week, people starting to think about things a little bit and realizing that this is better for everybody within the jail. It's not just better for the inmates, it's better for everybody. This is a concept that's been around since the early 1980s. And it seems like for a while we were kind of in the dark ages of that philosophy. It was just a warehouse mentality, and we are trying to get away from that.
Direct supervision is not just a physical layout, it's not a physical plant for the jail, it's an entire philosophy of how we operate inside the jail. Direct supervision philosophy is all about taking positive tools to get the inmates to do what we already expect them to do. It's about changing our way of thinking in order to entice the inmates to go along with our current expectations. We all want a safe and secure facility. That goal does not change with direct supervision. Just how we obtain that goal is really the only thing that's going to change with that.
You're not going to be running around as much, running from one side of the jail as you currently are to the other to get things done. Inmates are able to walk themselves from place to place. Hey, it's this time of the day, you guys have a program, just to remind them, but they're pretty much going to be on their own schedule.
Every custody deputy that walks in these halls deserves to work and be around a clean, safe environment, just as if the staff and inmates do as well. And this will help facilitate that.
It's going to allow you to get to know the inmates in your housing unit better, to address their needs better, and then also it's going to give you a better chance to prevent assault, prevent drug use, and also it'll paint law enforcement in a better light, as well as helping inmates go about their day-to-day lives within custody.
Instead of catering to the 5 to 10% that can't function, let's start changing our operational philosophy to the 90% that can.
Yeah, I forgot. Sorry, I'll get you.
We all know this is a very stressful, very dangerous job, and the evidence is out there to suggest that that stress can really negatively impact you as you go forward in your life. This new philosophy that we're going to has shown to reduce stress in officers. Our negative interactions are going to decrease significantly through implementing this program.
This is more of a proactive approach, realizing that the people in our care and in our custody are actually members of the community. And when they leave the jail, they're going to be members of that community. With the new philosophy at the Santa Maria Jail, everything that is going to meet the inmates' needs is going to be within that module.
I want them to have the best experience they can while in custody, even though it's a terrible place to be. But at the same time, I'd like my job to go as smoothly as possible and be as safe as possible while helping them out at the same time.
Thank you to the Northern Branch Jail Transition Team and the Custody Change Team for making sure that every custody staff member has the tools that they'll need to be successful in a direct supervision unit. 18 people were recently arrested in connection with a ponga boat carrying more than 120 bales of marijuana, weighing in at more than 3,000 pounds. Narcotics detectives attempted to make contact with the driver of a truck who jumped out of the vehicle and fled. Inside the truck, they found more than a dozen bales of marijuana. Soon after, they found 3 other vehicles and a van associated with the drug smuggling operation and occupied by 18 men smelling of fuel and covered in sand and water. An abandoned ponga boat was found on the coast nearby. The suspects now face prosecution for illegal transportation of cannabis. 25 people were arrested and more than 50 people cited at this year's unsanctioned spring break party in Isla Vista known as Deltopia. The crowd was estimated to be around 10,000, an increase compared to last year when about 6,000 to 8,000 people attended. While we were pleased that there were no major incidents and fewer arrests, we were troubled by the increase in medical transportations. 25 college students were transported to the hospital due to alcohol and/or drug consumption. Narcan was used on one person suffering from an opioid-related overdose. The Sheriff's Office started using naloxone, also known as Narcan, in April of 2017. Here is Commander Craig Bonner and Santa Barbara County Fire Paramedic Jenny Simon with a look at the training involved in deploying this life-saving drug.
We've seen an overall trend throughout the United States over the past few years of growing opioid epidemic, but people are dying on a daily basis, and certainly we've seen those effects within our county. And it's something that Sheriff Brown recognized several years ago, and he's been working with both the Public Health Department, with behavioral wellness, to try to come up with a means that the Sheriff's Office can help work on this epidemic within our own communities.
Narcan is what is known as an opioid antagonist, and what it does is it blocks the effects of opioids on the central nervous system. So an individual cannot maintain their bodily functions that are required to survive, as in movement and breathing primarily. So what Narcan does, or naloxone, is it blocks the effects of the opioid that the person has within their system and allows the body's nervous system to keep their respiratory drive functioning. So once you administer Narcan, it works within 1 to 3 minutes. The sooner we can get that on board for someone, especially whose respiratory system has been depressed, the quicker they're going to start breathing. We have seen the deputies using it out there in the community and actually saving people's lives and feeling confident in their ability to do that. And that's really what this training is about.
What we didn't realize is how frequently we would be utilizing it. You know, the reality is that our program has been in operation for about a year at this point in time, and we have averaged 1 deployment per month, and you know, we have saved probably 10 lives out there within our communities during this 1-year time frame. Law enforcement naloxone programs aren't the fix. They are a means of saving lives so that these other programs can get people off of the opioids and save lives that way too.
They do this training so they have a knowledge base, so they can understand what are the signs and symptoms. At what point do I provide what intervention? And then once I provide that intervention, what are my next steps and responsibilities to ensure this person's safety? And by doing this training, it helps them feel that competency, and then they are confident in that situation.
Thanks to the Santa Barbara County Public Health Department and the Emergency Medical Services Agency for helping us develop and implement a naloxone program, which puts life-saving medication as close as possible to where it's needed. After 8 years of helping Santa Barbara County safely dispose of more than 50,000 pounds of unwanted medications through its Operation Medicine Cabinet program, there is now an even more convenient and efficient way to safely get rid of expired and unwanted medication. The medicine disposal kiosks previously located outside most sheriff's facilities have been replaced with new kiosks operated by the Santa Barbara County Med Project. The service is free to the public and is paid for by product manufacturers who sell over-the-counter or prescription drugs in Santa Barbara County. For a list of kiosk sites, go to our website at www.sbsheriff.org. The Sheriff's Office is also pleased to announce our new partnership with Nextdoor. For this edition of Focus on Safety, here's Sergeant Dan Calderon to show us how you can be our neighbor.
Nextdoor is a social network for neighborhoods, and it serves 3 purposes. It's private, which means that all of the people who joined the program are verified residents of that neighborhood. It's local, which means it affects just those people that have signed up for that particular neighborhood, and it's useful for law enforcement. That way we can get information out to the public via push notifications, text messages, and the Nextdoor app, the mobile application, and the Nextdoor website. Nextdoor is just part of the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office diverse media program. Now that really allows us to engage the public. Nextdoor can engage in everything from asking about somebody to fix a certain thing on their home or public safety concerns, if there's an increase in vandalism or if there's an increase in burglaries in the neighborhood. It really allows the Sheriff's Office to engage with the public on a different level. Nextdoor does not replace the hardworking deputies that come to your community, and we can't replicate that one-on-one interaction that you're going to have with our deputy sheriffs. But it really does allow us to engage with the entire neighborhood and kind of assess what's important to the neighborhood at the time. It's important to sign up. It certainly does not replace, in an emergency situation, dialing 911 and having a deputy respond to your location immediately. But it just really allows us to engage the public in what's going on these days. And that's what we're really trying to do with the Sheriff's Office, and just to provide the best community that we possibly can for all of our community members.
More than 270 Santa Barbara County websites are connected on Nextdoor. If you're interested in joining, please go to www.nextdoor.com and enter your address. Autism training is critical for law enforcement officers to know what to do when they come into contact with people who have autism.
You need to calm down. We're not going anywhere. No, we're not. That's fine. You can get a drink from the fridge. No. We're not going anywhere with you hitting and biting your hands.
The Sheriff's Office recently partnered with the Autism Society to provide important training for first responders. Retired police officer Brian Harrett, who has a son with autism, taught important skills on how to identify, interact, and confront members of our community on the autism spectrum. Autism is the fastest growing developmental disability. For more information about it, go to asasb.org. An impressive group of 10 custody deputies recently graduated from the Allen Hancock Core Custody Academy. They received their graduation certificates at a formal ceremony after completing almost 400 hours of instruction. The Sheriff's Office also recently hired 4 new custody deputies: Myra Andrade, Ariana Espinoza, Bradley Luis, and Antonio Sandoval. During that ceremony, we also welcomed 2 new dispatchers, Daisy Cortez and Rebecca Orozco. The Sheriff's Office also officially welcomed 5 new sheriff's deputies who graduated from the Allen Hancock Law Enforcement Academy. In order to make it to graduation day, they endured more than 826 hours of training. We welcome this outstanding group of graduates to our ranks, and we wish them a great career ahead. The Sheriff's Office is always looking for people who want to make a difference and join our team. To find out more about how to embark on a rewarding career with the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office, go to our website at www.sbsheriff.org and go to the Join Us section. You can also go to our new SBSO Recruitment Facebook page. While the Sheriff's Office is pleased to welcome new talent, it's always hard to lose some of our finest who leave our organization with great knowledge and experience. Commander Kelly Moore retired after 33 years of law enforcement service. He started with the Carpinteria Police Department before the Sheriff's Office took over operations, and then we were fortunate to have him join our team. He worked virtually every assignment you can think of here at the Sheriff's Office. Commander Moore will take his knowledge and experience with him to the Santa Barbara Unified School District as their first ever safety manager. We are sad to see him go, but pleased that he will continue to help keep the young people in our community safe. While virtually no one gets into the law enforcement business to receive recognition, every year the Sheriff's Office recognizes employees for their superior and exceptional performance. This year at our Recognition Awards program and luncheon, the Sheriff's Meritorious Service Award went to Sergeant Neil Gowing and Deputy David Frawley, who helped evacuate hundreds of campers during the Whittier fire. The Sheriff's Medal of Courage Award was given to 7 other sheriff's deputies for their response to the Whittier fire in July of 2017. The deputies helped conduct evacuations at the Lake Kachuma campground and attempted to reach children and staff members trapped by fire at Circle V Ranch. Their quick thinking resulted in the successful evacuation of hundreds of children and adults caught in the path of this rapidly moving wildfire. These 7 deputies also received the prestigious H. Thomas Geary Award for Valor at a traditional ceremony held at the Santa Barbara County Board of Supervisors hearing room. This year, veteran Communication Dispatch Supervisor Shannon Hugenbosch was honored with an H. Thomas Geary Award for superior performance. Shannon has helped thousands of people who have called 911 with an emergency over the past 20 years. At our 2018 Department Award ceremony, 5 Isla Vista Foot Patrol deputies were given the Meritorious Service Medal for helping a student who had fallen from a cliff. Sheriff's Special Duty Deputy Desiree Tomei and Deputy Jeffrey Owen were also given the Meritorious Service Medal for helping a victim in a rollover crash who was pinned inside his car. 4 sheriff's deputies were given life-saving awards for resuscitating victims who had suffered heart attacks and were not breathing. Our incredibly hardworking Human Resources Bureau received the Sheriff's Unit Citation Award for its unprecedented work in hiring more than 160 full-time employees and completing more than 100 volunteer and contractor investigations during the course of a single year. The Sheriff's Special Investigations Bureau also took home a Unit Citation Award for their success this past year in getting illegal firearms off the streets and out of the hands of felons. The Sheriff's Transportation Unit received the 3rd Unit Citation Award. Its hard-working professionals traveled more than 155,000 miles and transported more than 49,000 high-profile, high-risk, mentally and medically unstable individuals throughout our county and throughout the state of California. Air Support Unit Pilot Deputy George DeLuca was honored by the Santa Barbara County Fire Department for his bravery during the 1-9 debris flow. Thank you to our partners at the Santa Barbara County Fire Department for recognizing his heroic efforts. Crane Country Day School also showed their appreciation to the Sheriff's Search and Rescue Team for the work that they did during the Thomas Fire and the 1-9 debris flow. The school held a first ever response-a-thon and raised more than $35,000 to thank key agencies that made a difference during these disasters. They gave more than $10,000 to the Sheriff's Search and Rescue Team, and many team members were present to gratefully accept the check and visit with the students and the staff. More than 1,100 Santa Barbara County 5th and 6th graders know more now about how to make good choices after completing the 10-week DARE program taught this year by retired Sheriff's Deputy Leslie Avila.
Deputy Avila has taught me so much, and I enjoy seeing her every week. I think that she is really funny but can also be pretty serious, which makes DARE better for me.
65 5th graders at Crestview Elementary, located on the Vandenberg Air Force Base, received their graduation certificates before an enthusiastic audience made up of their fellow classmates, parents, and teachers. In addition to skills on how to make good choices, the students also learned how to stand up and speak up when they see bullying and how to be an upstander, not a bystander. The DARE program is made possible by the generous support from the Sheriff's Benevolent Posse. We wish every school could have the DARE program. If you want to help support DARE or to learn more about the Sheriff's Benevolent Posse, go to their website at www.sheriffsposse.org. Senior Deputy Eric Delgadillo, who's assigned to the Coastal Division and works in Carpinteria, recently received what quite possibly will be one of the most heartfelt honors of his career. A 4th grader at Laguna Blanca Elementary School chose Senior Deputy Delgadillo to be her guest of honor at a citizenship breakfast. At the event, she spoke about why she chose Senior Deputy Delgadillo, which meant a lot to him and all of us here at the Sheriff's Office.
In my opinion, he is a great leader. Thank you for keeping our community safe, Mr. Delgadillo. Responding to emergencies and arresting criminals is not an easy job. In class, we have been learning about the 6 pillars of character: respect, trustworthiness, responsibility, fairness, caring, and citizenship. Mr. Delgadillo shows all 6 pillars of character.
Thank you, Charlotte, for your kind words. If you want to thank a deputy or any member of the Sheriff's Office for making a difference in helping you, send an email to thanks@sbsheriff.org. One deputy who's really made a difference in the life of Special Olympics athletes in Santa Barbara County is Lieutenant Butch Arnaldi. After more than 35 years of participating in Special Olympics, Lieutenant Arnaldi and Carpinteria special athlete Ben Watts were chosen to carry the flame of hope into the opening ceremony of the Special Olympics Summer Games in Long Beach. It was quite an honor. This was the 50th anniversary of Special Olympics and the 37th year for the law enforcement torch run. Annually, more than 97,000 members of law enforcement carry the flame of hope across the country to raise money for Special Olympics. This year, Santa Barbara County had a record number of runners, with more than 80 participating and taking turns running with the torch. Deputy Tyler Davis ran in full uniform for 3 miles through the Santa Ynez Valley and was barely winded when he was interviewed afterwards.
I'm gonna drink this water, I'm gonna go back to work.
And then after work, where are you going?
I'm going to Disneyland.
There we go. All right. Well,
for the first time ever, a group of women in law enforcement ran together, carrying the flame of hope down Carpinteria Avenue towards the Ventura County line. Thanks to everyone who participated in this very important tradition. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of the Sheriff's Roundup. But before I go, I want to take a moment to thank the people of Santa Barbara County for their vote of confidence in me as your sheriff and for giving me the opportunity to serve the people of this beautiful county for another 4 years. It's my great privilege and honor to be your sheriff and to lead the fine men and women of the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office. Until next time, stay safe, and thank you for supporting us as we protect your safety.